Ready to unlock amazing insights? This is Zentara Unlocked, your daily audio journey from Zentara.blog. Listen to a top article each day, wherever you are. For a fresh wave of knowledge, visit Zentara.blog. 6 new mind-expanding articles land every single day. Top 10 Pirate Myths, the real truth behind the legends. Ahoy there, future historians. Get ready to set sail on a voyage of discovery as we dive into the thrilling world of pirates. We've all heard the swashbuckling tales, seen the movies, and maybe even dressed up as a pirate for Halloween. But how much of what we think we know about these adventurous seafarers is actually true, and how much is just salty sea dog story? Pirates from the Golden Age of Piracy, roughly from the 1650s to the 1730s, were real, and they certainly caused a stir on the high seas. But over time, their stories have been mixed with a lot of myths and legends. Let's hoist the main brace, weigh anchor, and uncover the real truth behind 10 famous pirate myths. 1. Walking the plank, a pirate's go-to punishment? The myth. Picture this: a terrified captive, hands tied, forced to walk a narrow wooden plank extending over the side of a pirate ship, ultimately plunging into the shark-infested waters below. This is a classic pirate movie scene. The real story? While walking the plank sounds very dramatic, it actually wasn't a common punishment used by real pirates of the Golden Age. There are very few historical records of it ever happening. Pirates could be brutal, for sure, but they usually had quicker, more direct ways of dealing with enemies or disobedient crew members. They might throw someone overboard, maroon them, leave them on a deserted island, or use other harsh punishments. The idea of walking the plank was mostly popularized by fictional stories much later, like J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, because it made for a more suspenseful and chilling image. Real pirates were often more practical, if still very dangerous. 2. X marks the spot. Did pirates bury treasure and make secret maps? The myth. Every good pirate story seems to involve a tattered old map, with a mysterious X marking the spot where a chest overflowing with gold doubloons and sparkling jewels is buried on a deserted island. The real story. While this is one of the most exciting pirate legends, the idea of pirates regularly burying their treasure and creating elaborate maps is largely a work of fiction. Robert Louis Stevenson's famous novel Treasure Island is mostly responsible for this popular image. In reality, pirates usually wanted to spend their loot as quickly as they got it, on things like supplies, repairs, a good time in port, or dividing it amongst the crew. Their lives were often short and uncertain, so saving for a rainy day by burying treasure wasn't practical. There's only one well-documented case of a pirate, William Kidd, burying some treasure, and most of that was found. So, those X marks the spot maps? Mostly a thrilling invention for adventure stories. 3. Arrr, Matey, Shiver me timbers. The truth about pirate talk. The myth. We all think we know how pirates talked, right? Arrr, ye scallywag. Shiver me timbers. Ahoy me hearty. These phrases are staples in movies and on Talk Like a Pirate Day. The real story. While sailors in the 17th and 18th centuries definitely had their own slang and accents, the over-the-top pirate speak we know today is mostly an invention. Much of it was popularized by the actor Robert Newton, who played Long John Silver in Disney's 1950 movie Treasure Island and Blackbeard in another film. He used his native West Country English dialect, which had a strong R&R sound, and it just stuck as the pirate accent. Real pirates came from many different countries and backgrounds: England, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the Netherlands, France, Africa, and the American colonies, so they would have spoken in a variety of accents and languages. Some nautical terms were common, but the exaggerated "arr" is more for fun than historical fact. 4. Eyepatches, just for missing eyes or a secret trick. The myth. The image of a pirate with a black eye patch is iconic. It's often assumed they wore them because they'd lost an eye in a fierce sword fight or a cannon blast. Some newer theories suggest they wore them to keep one eye adjusted to the dark for fighting below deck. The real story? Life at sea, especially for pirates engaging in battles, was dangerous, and injuries, including eye injuries, certainly happened. So, some pirates likely wore eye patches to cover a lost or damaged eye, just as anyone might. However, the idea that many pirates wore them, or that it was a standard pirate fashion, is an exaggeration. The theory about using an eye patch to help one eye stay adapted to darkness so they could see better when moving from bright sunlight on deck to the dim conditions below deck is clever and scientifically plausible for sailors in general. However, there isn't much direct historical evidence specifically linking this practice widespread among pirates. The eye patch as a classic pirate symbol is more a part of their fearsome image created in stories than a universal reality. 5. A parrot on the shoulder, standard pirate accessory? The myth. What's a pirate captain without a colorful parrot squawking pieces of 8 from his shoulder? This is another image made incredibly famous by stories. The real story, just like buried treasure maps, the idea of pirates commonly having parrots as shoulder companions largely comes from fiction, especially Long John Silver's parrot, Captain Flint, in Treasure Island. While sailors, including pirates, did encounter and sometimes acquire exotic animals like parrots during their voyages to tropical lands, parrots were valuable and could be sold in Europe. It wasn't a standard pirate pet for everyone. A ship is a rough place, and a parrot on your shoulder during a sword fight probably wouldn't be very practical. Some pirates might have kept monkeys or other pets, but the parrot became the stereotypical choice thanks to its colorful appearance and ability to mimic speech, making it a more interesting character in a story. 6. The Jolly Roger. Did all pirates fly the skull and crossbones? The myth. Every pirate ship flew the fearsome Jolly Roger, a black flag with a white skull and 2 crossed bones. This was the one and only symbol that struck terror into the hearts of merchant sailors. The real story, the skull and crossbones design was indeed a famous pirate flag, but it wasn't the only one, nor was it used by all pirates. The term Jolly Roger could refer to various pirate flags. Some pirates flew plain black flags, signaling that quarter or mercy might be given if the target surrendered, or red flags, signaling no quarter would be given, a fight to the death. Many famous pirates had their own unique designs. Blackbeard reportedly used a skeleton holding an hourglass and a spear stabbing a heart. Bartholomew Black Bart Roberts had a flag showing him standing on 2 skulls. These flags were designed to be terrifying and to encourage ships to surrender without a fight. So, while the skull and crossbones is iconic, the world of pirate flags was more varied. 7. Purely lawless brutes. Were pirates totally unruly? The myth. Pirates are often seen as chaotic, bloodthirsty savages who followed no rules but their own violent whims, constantly fighting amongst themselves. The real story, surprisingly, many pirate ships operated under a strict set of rules, often called articles or a pirate code. Before setting out on a voyage, the crew would often vote on these articles, and everyone had to agree to them, often by signing or making their mark. These codes laid out rules for discipline. The fair division of treasure plunder was usually shared out quite democratically, compensation for injuries sustained in battle like losing a limb, and punishments for breaking the rules like cheating or bringing women on board without permission. The captain was often elected by the crew, and could be removed if he was too cruel or incompetent. This system provided a form of order and rough justice on board, which was necessary for a pirate crew to function effectively. 8. Captain Hook was real, and hooks and peg legs were everywhere. The myth. Captain Hook, Peter Pan's nemesis with his terrifying iron hook for a hand, is the quintessential pirate captain. This leads to the belief that many pirates had hooks for hands and wooden peg legs. The real story. Captain Hook is a wonderful and scary fictional character created by J.M. Barrie for his play and novel Peter Pan. He wasn't a real historical pirate. While life on a sailing ship and engaging in battles was incredibly dangerous, and pirates certainly suffered injuries that could lead to amputations, the widespread image of pirates commonly sporting hooks and peg legs is exaggerated by fiction. Prosthetics in the 17th and 18th centuries were quite basic. A simple wooden peg leg was more likely than a custom-fitted iron hook, which would have been impractical in many situations. While some sailors and perhaps a few pirates might have had such devices, it wasn't the universal pirate uniform we see in movies. 9. Keel hauling, a favorite pirate pastime? The myth. Keel hauling, a horrific punishment where a sailor was tied to a rope, thrown overboard, and dragged under the ship's keel, the bottom of the ship, scraping along the barnacle-covered hull, is often thought of as a common and brutal pirate punishment. The real story. Keel hauling was a real and incredibly severe form of punishment, but it was more formally associated with some European navies like the Dutch and English navies at certain times, rather than being a standard or frequent pirate practice. Historical records of pirates specifically using keel hauling are scarce. Pirates did have brutal punishments as mentioned. Marooning or simple execution were more straightforward. While a pirate captain wanting to make a particularly gruesome example might have considered something like it, it wasn't a go-to item in their list of punishments described in most pirate articles. The extreme nature of keel hauling made it a notorious punishment, but its regular use by pirates of the Golden Age is likely overstated. To set girl power? No female pirates allowed. The myth? Piracy was strictly a man's world. Women simply weren't pirates, and if they were on a ship, they were captives or passengers. Never part of the swashbuckling crew. The real story: while piracy was overwhelmingly a male-dominated profession, there were indeed a few incredibly famous and fearsome female pirates who broke all the rules. The best known are Anne Bonny and Mary Red, who sailed with Calico Jack Rackham's crew in the Caribbean during the early 1720s. Historical accounts say they fought as fiercely as any man, participating in battles and wearing men's clothes during combat. There were also other notable female pirate figures in different parts of the world and different eras, like the Irish chieftain Grace O'Malley in the 16th century and the Chinese pirate leader Qing Shi in the early 19th century, who commanded a massive fleet. So, while rare, women definitely made their mark on the history of piracy. So, there you have it. The world of real pirates was certainly dangerous and adventurous, but it was also more complex and a bit different from the tall tales we often hear. Knowing the real story makes their history even more interesting. You've just unlocked another piece of knowledge with Zentara Unlocked. Craving more? Zentara.blog publishes 6 new, easy-to-digest articles every single day. Don't miss out. Subscribe to the podcast, and we'll catch you on the next one. Stay wonderfully curious.